Hey everybody, it's Kris at Oak Street Garden Shop in Crestline Village. Look what I've got here. All of the different kinds of ornamental kales and cabbages that you can use. I think sometimes people are confused about how to use them. Ornamental kale and cabbage are just that. They are ornamental. I never really hear about people eating them. I think from what I've read, they're a little more bitter. You could use them as a garnish on a plate, but these are primarily for use in pots and in beds for the South through the winter. So what have I got here? I'm going to tell you about all of these. So the very most cold hardy one that I'm aware of are these Peacock kales right here. Harry, it's that real frilly one right there. Peacock kale comes in, they call it red, but it's really purple. But when you look at the tag, they always say red kale, you know, pink kale, white kale. But both of these, they're real frilly, really cut leaves. This is peacock kale. Kale generally has kind of a curlier leaf to it, and cabbage has more of a flat leaf. So here's another kale, and this is a really popular one called red boar. And again, you can see the cut leaf on that. The kale, the cabbage, you see the color now. When it gets colder, the color even intensifies. And when you have a cabbage, which is what this is, the center color on that plant really gets defined. So if you have a red one or purple, the color really accentuates through the winter. So they're really wonderful to use in containers and in beds. There's one here, another kale. This is the Emperor series of kale. And again, real frilly. And again, that color is going to just be vivid through the winter as it gets cold. Now, when you plant ornamental cabbages and kale in containers, especially things like this cabbage right here and this kale, be sure you tip them out of the planter. You don't want to plant straight up and down. You need to be able to see that head where that color is really going to come out, okay? I just did a hay rack for someone, a window box kind of thing, and we used ornamental cabbage and violas, trailing pansies, and I tipped the cabbages out. So it's a really good thing to remember, okay? Now what's gonna happen to these through the winter? They do very well for us through the winter if we have a normal to a mild winter. They will sail through. Now if we have temperatures that drop below freezing for extended periods of time, you might want to protect these. I have seen in my garden where I haven't protected it, where we've gotten some really cold weather and I've gone back like a day or so later and looked at them, they will turn mushy, like frozen cabbage, you know, like bleh. So protect them if we have cold temperatures. If you have a container that they're in, throw a blanket over it or a sheet. Throw that sheet completely over the container so that it covers the bottom and is tucked in underneath, so no cold air gets up there, okay? If they make it through the winter, which hopefully they will, in the spring, they do what is called bolting. When a plant like a cabbage or a kale bolts, it basically blooms, it goes to seed. Now, I kind of like the flowers. They're usually yellow, they're kind of pretty in the garden, but many people at that point will pull them out and start their spring garden, and that'll be the end of this. But look at how beautiful they are. This is something that you really ought to try to use in your containers, possibly your beds. We have plenty of them right now. Come see us. We're here from 9 to 5:30, Monday through Saturday. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe.